Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So my group today will talk about education issues in between an underdeveloped country, which is Africa, and a developed country, America. So the first part of our presentation today is the summary for both article that we already chose for today's presentation. So the title for the first article that we choose is Education in Africa, What Are We Learning? So as a whole, this article is explaining about the current condition of the education system in Africa. On they talk about on how well the system is developing and what initiative they take in order to improving their education quality, and also they also touch on the issues that the African face uh, in order to improve their education quality. So I have divided uh, the summary into 4 main points, which is the first one is the article is talking about access to education in Africa, which is currently is increasing, particularly at the primary and the secondary school level, which is a good sign, which means much more children already get access to education compared to before. And the second one is they talk about the curriculum and educational levels, which is focusing on the teacher training and teachers education, because in order to have a better education quality, they first need to make sure that they have a caliber teacher, a quality teacher. So that's one of their initiative to produce a quality teacher in order to improve their education quality. And then the third one is the quality of the education, which is which is in the article, which is mentioned in the article that there are still much more, there are still many things that need an improvement in order for them to achieve a better quality of education. And then the last one is the article touch about the issues and challenges that the African face in this education field. Okay, so the first one is literacy, which has been combated through mother tongue instruction in class lesson. However, this solution have lead them to another problem, which I will explain later in the slide. And then the second one is teacher education. They are on the teacher training, the teacher qualification, and then the school fees and funding, which is under the term of financial, which is I will also be explaining later. Okay, so next one, the second article, the title of the second article is Contemporary Education Systems, the Case of United States. So this second article is for the American education system. So basically it's telling about the summary of this article is they talking about the current education system in America, the historical background behind it, and on how the government handle the education. And then they also, and then like the previous article, this article also touch about the challenges and issues that the US education system face. So so I have listed 4 here, the challenges and issues, which is the first one is racial discrimination, racism, and then the high expense under the term of financial also, and then the access to equipment and teacher education. So next we move to the comparison part, or we will focus to some differences and some similarities. So we start with the differences first. So on the problem literacy. So if we want to compare between America and Africa, Africa has a higher literacy problem. However, like what I said before, Africa has come with a solution. Some teachers have come with a solution, which is they use the mother tongue instructions in their class to combat literacy, because the research shown that this is actually improving the literacy of the students, because much more students can read now, and much more students can understand the instruction during the class. However, this leads to another problem, which it's declining, and it's decreasing the proficiency in English for the students, and some students also have a low performance in mathematics because of this, because they use English in the mathematics. And then in my opinion, in order to combat this literacy problem, educators in Africa need a long-term solution rather than a short-term solution. Like what are they doing right now, which is use a mother tongue instruction in their class session, is basically a short-term solution, and it will lead to another problem, such as the declining in English proficiency. So the next comparison is on racial discrimination. This one is focusing on America, because America itself has many history with racism, with like white privilege, and how they treat the colored people back then. So this is still a problem in this day. So this is one of the challenge that the American education system is facing right now, compared to America, which is have lesser racism problem compared to them. And the proof is the minority usually don't have a good educational background in America. So we can clearly see that the privileged one will have a better chance in education, and while the minority will don't have the same chance in the educational field. So I believe that the way to solve this is they need to implement equity policies rather than equality policies more in their education system, because equality means we give the same to everyone, which is actually not very fair. What we need to do is we need to cater for everyone's needs, so equity is the answer. So next is finance. So this is more to similarity. Both country have finance problem in their education system, but in a different context. So let me explain. So for Africa, they are underdeveloped country, right? So so it is common for them to have a funding problem to build a school construction, to buy an equipment, to give the child the access to the education. So it's common for them because they are underdeveloped country. They have trouble in funding their education. However, for a developed country like America, they can also have a funding problem, which is but the reason is different. It's not that they don't have money. The reason is they need to cater to everyone expectation. So they need to have more facilities, better facilities. They need to have enough equipment for everyone, because not just people from that born in America who study America, who study in America. People who born from other country also come to America to study. So they need to cater for to the world expectation for their education system. So last one is the comparison for teacher education. So this is also the similarities for both country. Both country need to prepare a high caliber teachers for their educational system to actually working flawlessly. However, the difference is maybe in the quality of the teacher, because Africa is still improving. They're still at the start of the step. They're still on the early stage of their teachers training, in improving their quality and their teachers quality, compared to America, who are already developed, and their education system already have been proven good for so many time and for so long. So the only difference is in the quality of the teachers, but in terms of the training program, the qualification that teachers need, I think in my opinion, it's the same, because they both aim for a high quality teachers for the education system. So the next part I will pass to my group mate which is he will explain about the findings from the research.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nu'adizah Abzal bin Wazaha, and today I will be talking about our findings from the research of two different countries, the developed country of America and the underdeveloped country of Africa. So firstly, we will be talking about the education quality. So education quality in America is better because they are a developed country. The so they have improved their uh, overall educational system, while the education in Africa is still improving. So when we compare these two countries with their educational system, we can see that America have better funding. So this leads to better facilities, this leads to better teacher training, and the classrooms are improved. While in Africa, they receive less funding. They do receive funding, but it's not as much. So the facilities and the uh, infrastructure of the schools is not as good as we can see in America. But both of these countries have their own issues. So from what I can see in America, because they're a large country with multi-ethnic, multicultural, uh, their students have developed racial discrimination between the minorities. So when it comes to minorities, they tend to not get a good educational background. So they have to overcome this. They have to overcome this situation, this problem with they have to come up with ways to overcome with this problem. And also we can see from our findings that finance plays a big part in education, whether it is for the provider or the consumer. So when we did our research, we can see that most of the improvement or the some of the problem will come from lack of finance. When they lack finance, when they lack finance, they have less facilities. This will affect the students and also the teachers. So I think that is all for our findings. I will pass on to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mama Azim and I'm gonna discuss on how the issues affect the society for both of the country, which is Africa and America. So here we go. For the first one, which is racism, lack of unity and society. For starters, racism has far-reaching consequences that go beyond individual encounters. It pervades societal structures and institutions, resulting in a lack of togetherness. Racism separates communities, fosters inequality, and stifles progress towards a more equitable and inclusive society. It has an impact on education, employment, healthcare, and other sectors, aggravating social tensions and eroding communal solidarity. And then for the second point, which is literacy. Literacy is a foundation for global competitiveness and social skills. Aside from the capacity to read and write, literacy allows people to negotiate the complexities of modern life, obtain information, and participate effectively in society. Furthermore, literacy promotes critical thinking, communication skills, and empathy, all of which are necessary for bridging gaps between diverse populations and flourishing in a quickly changing world. And for the third point, which is teacher education, the quality of education is dependent on teacher efficacy, making teacher education an important problem. Investing in teacher training ensures that Educators are ready to give high quality education, mentorship, and support to students. Great educators not only teach but also inspire, motivate, and empower students. So, changing the future of the next generation and propelling societal progress. Finally, because socio-economic position has a major impact on access to opportunities and resources, money plays a critical role in determining educational achievements. Inequalities in wealth can obstruct access to high quality education, hence limiting social mobility and sustaining cycles of inequality. In order to advance equity, close achievement gaps, and create a more inclusive society where everyone has an equal chance to succeed, the financial gap in education must be addressed. In conclusion, these problems affect many aspects of society for both countries, making these as big issues that interact as a problem in their own system.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Daniel Birosan and I will be continuing about personal opinion. So, how do both article affect us as a reader and future teacher? So, as a reader and future teacher, both article about Africa and America provide us with a valuable insight into the complexity of a global issue, cultural diversity, and social dynamics. They help broaden our perspective, deepen our understanding of different cultures and societies, and enhance our awareness on interconnectedness of the world. By engaging with these articles, we develop empathy, critical thinking skills, and a sense of responsibility toward addressing social injustices and promoting inclusivity in our classroom and communities. Additionally, this article inspire us to incorporate diverse perspectives and topics into our teacher practices, fostering a more inclusive and culturally responsive learning environment for our students. Overall, they empowered us to become more informed, compassionate, and effective educators as we navigate the complexity of the globalized world. So how do articles about Africa and America contribute to the society? Articles about Africa and America contribute to society by providing valuable information, raising awareness about social economics, political issues, promoting cultural understanding, and facilitating dialogue. They shed light on diverse perspectives, challenges, and achievements within these regions, helping to break stereotypes and foster empathy. Such as articles can inspire action, advocacy, and positivity change by encouraging individuals to engage with global issues and participate in effort to address them. Overall, they play a crucial role in shaping public discourse, promoting global awareness, and fostering a more informed and interconnected society. Next, what suggestion that I will be making as a student, I'm thinking about investing in teacher training and support. Next, strengthen parent and community engagement. And lastly, emphasize 21st century skills development for our future. Okay, lastly, reference. So as you can see, EGUS S 2024 Contemporary Education System, the case of United States, the Eurasia, Proceeding of Educational and Social Science. Next is Evans DK and Acosta AM 2020, Education in Africa, What Are We Learning? Journal of African Economies. So that's all from us, and thank you for listening, and Assalamualaikum.